Right, so first things first, let's make a new project. Call this Renaissance. Can never spell this correctly. I think that's right. Renaissance crowds and week 1. And I'm going to leave this in my D drive. Okay, accept that, and then I'm going to save the project. So let's call this just, I don't know, week 1 version 1. Accept. Great. Okay, I'm just going to sort out the desktop how I like it, and we can jump right in. So we're going to start by looking at some of the shelf tools. Okay, really basic crowd stuff to start off. So if you come up here to characters, you've got a few of these mocap motion capture bipeds, and you've got a couple of characters that you can use for animating. But I'm going to take a look at this mocap biped 3. Okay, and it's a good way just to practice with crowds. You can use these as they just work well in Houdini. You know, obviously the rig and everything is set up to work well with the whole crowd system. So if I press P on this GeoNode, I get the options here. And let's take a look at what we have. So we got the basic, you know, translate and rotate and scale. But then here, the more interesting stuff, we got the animation. So we've got a whole bunch of different motion capture stuff. So if I go to walks and turns, here we got some walks. Okay, and they're all looped. Oops, if I turn on the real time. That one's got a bit of a tick to it, kind of it's not the best. Let's see what else. So if you go to walks and turns, then here you've got a load of different walks. I don't know, what's this? Walk startle, right? So you get scared, carries on, and it loops over again. Okay, and let's just put the default walk. You've got a lot of different stuff here. Materials, you know, you can change the texture. It's not so important though for us. So I'm going to leave this on the walk, and I'm going to right click and allow editing of the content just so we can take a look at the rig. So I'm going to jump inside. So here we've got the rig. Okay, and you can see it's kind of organized. So that kind of makes sense. So we've got the left leg there. Got 5 bones. If we can visualize them as well. Okay, so you can see how the structure is put together. Got the right leg there, and then the spine is kind of in a bit weird. This bit's kind of folded over, but then we got the hips and the spine there. Okay, the hips are at the root. We got the neck bones and a head, all the way to the head, and then the 2 arms. Okay. You know, so if you needed to, you could come in if you wanted to make some slight adjustment to an animation. You can come in here and just drop a null and make some changes, right? So I can, if I drop a tab, null, and then, you know, I can actually make some changes there. Obviously, it doesn't make much sense doing that, but just so you know, you do have access to the rig and you can make changes if you want to, if you're an animator and you know what you're doing. You can also jump into the geometry here. Before the deformation, we can make changes to the actual geometry if you wanted to. You could do like a poly reduce, maybe if you have a very dense geometry, right? So I can bring the amount of polygons down and it should still work fine, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and hide the rig. I don't want to see that. Cool. So let's take a look at the agent, what the agent is. Okay. First thing I'm going to do actually. Wait, make sure that I leave the visualizer in the right place. Actually, go back. I'm going to turn off this in-place animation. Okay, I want this kind of information. Okay, this deformation, this translation information. Sorry. So I'm going to select this, come up to the crowd, go find the crowd tools, click on agent. Okay, and it gives me two options. I can select an FBX that I have on file, or use a character rig that I've already got in my scene. So I'm going to do that. Agent name, you can name it whatever you want. So I'm going to leave it as it is. And then the clip name will be the animation, right? So the clips. So we got a walk. So I'll just call it walk. Click OK. And this gave us another node with a chain. Oops, not that one. Another SOP network with a chain of nodes. Okay, so right at the beginning we've got this create agent, and if you notice we've lost our textures. So that's because we now have a packed geometry, right? So if you've worked really with rigid body simulations, we use packed geometry a lot, and agent is another form of a packed geometry, right? So you can see here we've only got the 1 point now. Got one packed agent primitive, right? So this obviously helps us save a lot of disk space and makes simulating much quicker, and setting up your initial states as well. Okay, so in here we've got the agent name. You can change that now if you like. It's up to you. The input is the character rig, so that's pointing at this. Again, you can choose an FBX, or if you have it already saved out onto disk. Other things which are important, everything else you can just leave. Clip name, this is rest, but we want that as walk, as we've got a walk. So this locomotion thing is important. So if we watch it now, the clip the time here, we've got 1 frame, which is obviously no good. So if you come back here, it's quite handy. It tells you 26 frames of animation we've got. Okay, so we need to put that in here. If we delete these channels, put this to 26, and watch that, and we'll see we've got this person walking. Now if I visualize the point, you can see the point is at 0 there, while the agent is walking away from it. Okay, and that's no good. When we come to simulate, the crowd simulation at its core is a pop simulation, is working on the points. Okay, so we want to be transforming, moving these points around. So having an agent walk away from their, this constitutes what the agent is at the origin, is no good. So what we do, basically I always do this. I always want to be using locomotion, right? So we convert to in-place animation. We've got an error there, and the error is because we need a locomotion node, okay, which we drop in here. So this will link us to the rig. Okay, so we're going to jump into the rig of the whichever character we've dropped in here. Okay, and then typically you're going to be using the hips. Okay, so look for the hips and drop that in. So we use the hips because it kind of represents the general translation of the body best. If you use the hand, the hand swings back and forward, the legs do the same, the head might, but the hips generally give a general sense of the movement. Okay, so there you can see it's not moving. Now if I come up and go to check this apply clip locomotion, you can see our point is moving with our character now. and also it continues on the loop as well. See that? It's not the best loop. We've got a kind of a bit of a click there, but that's okay. Great. Okay. So that's basically all you need. You know, you can take this and that's ready for simulating now. All of this is just extra stuff, right? But we'll go through them anyway. So in load clips, so this is where we can add more animation. So we could do that. So if we take this, we got this walk. So if I alt click and drag, I'll change the name of this to walk. And let's just grab a run as well. And let's take we'll go into the run. Oops, let's hide this and this. Grab the run. Let's see. Yeah, why not? Run and hop over. Okay, and then we'll jump back into here. And then in load clips, we can add more animation to the same agent. Okay, so all of this is working on one agent. And we can have multiple different agents going in parallel, which we will do later on, but not now. So we got the one walk, which we've already got. You know, we loaded it in here. So we don't need to, I'll get rid of that actually, and because we've already got it, we don't need to add it again. And I'm going to find the run, grab that, okay. And the same again, I want to convert this to in-place animation. And I get the same error again because we need to connect the locomotion node here, the hips. Okay, and I'm going to call this run, and then we can watch it up here. This is just for preview. Let's go to hide other agents, and there we go. That is slipping still, so what we need to do is go to apply clip locomotion. You can see it's kind of sliding forward, so that's because I've got locomotion on twice, so it's kind of doubling. So if I turn it off there, hopefully that should, yeah, you can see the feet are staying planted to the floor correctly. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so you can add as many as you want there. Again, we need to change this time. I think it won't loop now. Yeah, you see it just stops. So we need to grab that time, which is 37 frames for that one. So jump in there into our clips, delete this and drop that to 37. Reload. And there we go.